Okay, welcome back guys. Welcome back new subscribers. This video is going to be drink this tea for the blood sugar win. And before we go any further, in 1 second, I just got to do my quick disclaimer. This is not a medical channel. I do have a medical background, but what I'm doing here is sharing my journey as a type 2 diabetic and how I was able to reverse my type 2 diabetes, A1C, blood sugar, and all the good stuff that goes with it. So without further ado, let's get on with the topic for the day. So drink this tea for the blood sugar win. This discussion highlights the benefits of this tea for health, particularly in a diet for type 2 diabetes, or diabetics I should say. This tea is also known for its potential to enhance heart health, fight infections, and improve brain function, as suggested by a study in the Journal of Chinese Medicine. For those with type 2 diabetes, this tea can also be an additional beneficial component of the blood sugar fighting arsenal, or of your blood sugar fighting arsenal. So have you guys guessed? The same thing I'm always asking. Have you guys guessed what I'm talking about, guys? If you've guessed green tea, you've guessed right. There are other things out there, but today we're talking about green tea because I have green tea. So I'm talking about what I have and what I know. So how does this work, right? So let's discuss how diabetes affects the body and how green tea might help manage it, particularly type 2 diabetes, but we'll talk about type 1 as well. Diabetes is a condition where the body has difficulty regulating blood sugar levels, as you guys already know, but those of you that don't, I'll just go over it in brief. And this can happen due to two reasons, guys. One, the body cell becomes resistant to insulin, a hormone that helps absorb sugar for energy, or the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin. So that's 1 and 2. So the pancreas is a gland that releases insulin. In type 1 diabetes, the body's immune system attacks and destroys the cells in the pancreas that produce insulin, leading to a lack of insulin in the body. Green tea has been studied for its potential benefits in managing type 2 diabetes as well. The active ingredients in green tea, called catechins, are thought to help improve insulin sensitivity, making the body's cell more responsive to insulin. And I'll go over catechins and a few other definitions later on as we get further into the discussion. So however, the exact way green tea may help is not fully understood. And the reason for that is because there's so many studies on green tea. Most of these studies have been done on animals, guys. Like everything else that you're going to hear with regard to your diabetes condition or metabolic syndrome condition overall, everything has been done on animals. So it's all anecdotal. There isn't enough evidence to show the real potential on the human body. So some studies suggest that drinking green tea may help reduce insulin resistance in type 2 diabetes, but more research is needed to confirm this. Please note that while green tea may have potential benefits, it is not a cure for diabetes. And we talk about this all the time, right? There's no one thing that I'm going to talk about with you guys at any time where I'm going to say this is the silver bullet solution that's going to cure your diabetes. It's not. Because the reason you have diabetes, for the most part, if you weren't born with type 1 and you ended up with type 2, let's say as an adult, it's because of that particular situation. There wasn't any one particular thing that gave you diabetes, right? There was a combination of things, and it's really what I like to call processed food disease. So diabetes, you could just call it processed food disease. And give that some thought. Think about that. Think about as a kid, children today, the first thing they say is McDonald's, Burger King, or something like that if you're in the US, right? I don't know about, I can't speak for other countries, but it's always a fast food situation, right? Processed food. And throughout your life, you're eating processed food because everything is convenient, it tastes good, they have all the chemicals in it and everything to make it taste great. The problem is you're losing all of the natural nutrients and the ability in terms of fiber to process it the correct way in your body. And eventually, down the road, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and up, you may start seeing type 2 diabetes as a problem. And you're wondering, why do you have this type 2 diabetes? Where did it come from? Well, that's where it came from. Processed food for your entire life. So, please note that while green tea may not have its potential benefits, it's not a cure for diabetes like we just mentioned. It should be used as part of a broader diabetes management plan that includes a healthy diet, regular exercise, and if prescribed medications. I'm not a big fan of taking medications if I don't have to. If I have to, I'll take it. But if I don't, and I can do it naturally through a lifestyle change and diet change, I'm going to go that route. because the less medications I have to take, the less things I have to worry about. Because in my opinion, these medications fix one problem and cause a problem somewhere else in the body. So try to stick as natural as possible if I can. I'll stay as natural as possible. And of course, everything we talk about on this channel, always consult with your healthcare provider for personalized advice or your registered dietitian, nutritionist. So green tea and diabetes prevention. So those of you that don't have diabetes or are pre-diabetics, this may pertain to you. Now let's talk about how green tea might help prevent or manage type 2 diabetes. Green tea as part of a Mediterranean style eating plan might help prevent type 2 diabetes. And the way I eat is Mediterranean style. It's been proven in the blue zones around the world that that Mediterranean diet has been very beneficial to people's health and longevity. So the Mediterranean diet is high in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and healthy fats. See, we always talk about healthy fats. That's very essential. And low in processed foods and red meat. Okay, so processed foods, I fully agree with that. Red meat, there's a caveat in my opinion. I think the red meat that you're eating that's processed, you know, that a farmer raised, that was eating grains and was not free range eating grass, that was not polluted, is what they're referring to. Because if you look at 100 years ago, if you look at the previous generation, they didn't have the problems we have now. And they were eating all the things they say you're not supposed to eat. So, and of course, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you don't eat meat at all. So I understand that. So adding green tea to this diet might provide additional benefits, guys. Drinking green tea instead of sugary drinks might also lower the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. I know we say might, the reality is I think it will. I mean, but it's part of a larger combination of foods that you eat, right? So sugary drinks are high in calories and can lead to weight gain, as we all know, right? Which is a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. So the doctor always tells you, or your medical provider always tells you, try to lose a little bit of weight, because as you lose that weight, your blood sugar itself will also go down. And that's a fact. But green tea, on the other hand, has no calories and is sugar-free, making it a healthier alternative for people like us, right? Diabetics. So there's also some evidence that green tea might aid in weight loss, which is beneficial for diabetes management. I think you guys have heard that before. That's pretty common. People know that green tea does help you lose weight. However, like everything else in the diabetes world, more research is needed to confirm this. So let's talk about the importance of choosing good drinks for diabetes. So let's talk about how type 2 diabetes affects the body and how green tea can help manage it as well. So when you have type 2 diabetes, your body can't properly absorb glucose, the main energy source, due to your insulin resistance, right? So insulin is the key that opens the cell to allow the sugar in. And when you're resistant, the cell is being resistant to insulin, which is the key. In other words, it's the wrong key to open the cell and doesn't allow it to happen. So we're resistant. So this leads to high blood sugar levels, which increases the risk of complications like heart disease, kidney failure, and nerve damage. And this is in this partial conversation here is pretty much metabolic syndrome, right? That's where your heart disease is going to come in. It's going to be high cholesterol, all those kinds of things as well. But the kidney failure as well, long-term, and nerve damage, which you hear all the time, long-term with diabetes, if it's not managed, right? So the food and drinks you consume can significantly impact your blood sugar level. The main cause of the obesity and diabetes epidemic is added sugar, often found in drinks like sports drinks, soda, and fruit juice. And the other thing I'd recommend as well, guys, is diet soda. The diet soda, it doesn't have, you know, all that sugar in it, and that's the selling point or the marketing point, but it has a ton of chemicals in it. In other words, processed. So just be careful of that as well. So green tea can help stabilize blood sugar by positively affecting this aspect of your diet. So the science-backed health benefits of green tea for diabetes or diabetics like us. Let's discuss how green tea can help with weight loss and managing type 2 diabetes. Green tea has no calories, like we mentioned, making it a healthier choice than sugary drinks. Green tea contains catechins, which we mentioned earlier, and I'll go over that, an antioxidant that helps reduce insulin resistance by decreasing carbohydrate digestion and absorption. That's what we want, right? And that's going to keep our blood sugar low. So a study found that drinking 4 cups of green tea per day led to weight loss and lower blood pressure. So again, it didn't say drinking 4 cups of green tea a day lowers your blood sugar. It says it led to weight loss and blood pressure, lower blood pressure, right? But with the weight loss comes the lower blood sugar. So that's a natural, right? And then the blood pressure is part of the metabolic syndrome that we always discuss in all of our videos. Now, green tea can also increase the HDL, which is the good cholesterol levels, right? Metabolic syndrome, but this is the positive aspect here. And drinking green tea may reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes if you're pre-diabetic or not diabetic. A study found that people who drank 6 or more cups of green tea per day were 33% less likely to develop type 2 diabetes. Now that's another huge one, right? We talk about all these huge things in these videos, but that's huge. 33% less likely to develop diabetes. That's great, right? So if you can drink green tea, drink green tea. Just beware of the sugar. And we'll talk about a sugar alternative here later on in this discussion. So green tea contains polyphenols, which we'll talk about, which have anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, and cholesterol-lowering benefits. So everything we talk about here is multi-beneficial, guys, like all the other videos. So it behooves you to drink green tea. So l-theanine, an amino acid in green tea, has a common effect and may also reduce anxiety and stress-related increases in blood pressure. However, green tea alone cannot control blood sugar and cholesterol levels, which we always talk about. There is no one thing that's going to do it. So things I talk about on this channel are things that you're going to be taking all together as part of a comprehensive lifestyle moderation or change, which shouldn't be a big deal, because I am not telling you to stop taking anything. What I'm telling you to do is, instead of doing this, do this. Instead of eating this, eat this. But pretty much it's the same foods in a different form, in a more healthier form. So a balanced diet low in added sugars, simple carbohydrates, and saturated fat, along with regular monitoring, is necessary. And that's key. I stopped monitoring myself every day. I used to monitor my blood sugar every single day because I wanted to know how what I ate the previous day affected my fasting blood glucose in the morning. So green tea can aid in weight loss, help manage type 2 diabetes, decrease the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, and provide a calming effect. It contains catechins, like we talked about earlier, polyphenols, and l-theanine, which all contribute to its health benefits. So let's go over the definitions of some of these things: catechins, polyphenols, l-theanine. So what are catechins? Catechins are natural polyphenolic phytochemicals that exist in food and medicinal plants. More precisely, they're classified as a flavonol, which is a type of flavonoid that naturally exists not only within green tea, but certain other fruits and other food sources. So you're going to ask yourself, so I just mentioned all of that, so what's a flavonoid, right? So flavonoid is a type of phytochemical or plant chemical that is widely distributed in the plant kingdom. They create the vibrant colors of many of the fruits that we eat, and vegetables and flowers, of course, and have been found to have a variety of health benefits. So moreover, catechins are some of the most powerful disease-fighting phytonutrients found on the planet, guys. So you're going to ask yourself, what is a polyphenol? It's a category of plant compounds. Regularly consuming polyphenols is thought to boost digestion and brain health and protect against heart disease and type 2 diabetes and even certain cancers, guys. And l-theanine, which is the amino acid we talked about, is found in tea leaves, particularly green tea and loose leaf tea, that has several potential health benefits as well. So like everything else we talk about, there's an amount of something that you have to take, or the dosage, or however you would like to define it. So how much green tea should you drink if you have diabetes? Let's talk about the effects of green tea on people with diabetes and why it's recommended using stevia. Remember we talked about sweeteners? Stevia as a sugar substitute. I personally don't usually take stevia in my green tea. I drink my green tea without any sweetener at all, just like I drink my coffee the same way. It's not necessary for me personally. Stevia is a low-calorie sweetener derived from the stevia plant and has less than 1 calorie and no carbs per packet. So it's a great alternative to other sweeteners out there. A study in the journal Appetite found that stevia was the only low-calorie sweetener that lowered blood sugar and insulin levels after a meal. Green tea contains caffeine, which can affect blood sugar and blood pressure as well. right? So these are things you have to be aware of, just like coffee. People with type 2 diabetes are more likely to die from heart disease, which we have talked about in previous videos, guys, right? So monitoring blood pressure is essential. So I do that as well. I monitor my blood pressure every morning. To check how green tea affects blood sugar and blood pressure, measure levels before and after drinking green tea. And that's what I do. I don't do that anymore, but that's what I used to do until I figured out how this worked. Green tea has less caffeine than coffee or black tea. The Mayo Clinic states that there are 25 to 29 milligrams of caffeine in 8 ounces of brewed green tea, compared to 95 to about 165 milligrams in coffee and 25 to 48 milligrams in black tea. If your body is sensitive to caffeine, green tea could still affect you, so keep that in mind. So therefore, it's crucial to pay attention to your body's reaction. Green tea has health benefits for people with diabetes, but it's essential to use stevia instead of sugar and monitor your blood sugar and blood pressure levels before and after, so you know what your baseline is. Green tea contains caffeine, which can affect blood sugar and blood pressure, so pay attention to your body's reaction. Green tea has less caffeine than coffee or black tea, but if you're sensitive to caffeine, like I mentioned earlier, it could still be a problem for some of us. So how do I have my green tea? I have it in, I don't have my big cup here, but I have it in my big coffee mug, which equates to 4 cups of coffee typically. And I drink coffee or green tea. In the wintertime, I'm a big green tea drinker. And I just have my green tea. I get the green tea in the bags. You can get the loose green tea and things like that as well, whatever you prefer. But I have 4 cups of that almost every day in the wintertime. And I do it in the wintertime because, you know, it's a little chilly in the wintertime and it kind of keeps you, warms you up inside. But also there are great antioxidant benefits in green tea, like we talked about, the polyphenols and things here. And, you know, it has helped me lose weight overall. And, you know, I can't say there's any one particular thing that has helped me reduce my or reverse my blood sugar levels. I think a combination of all the things that I'm doing and all the things that I'm talking about to you guys to help you guys get on the right path has helped me, and I think it can help you as well. So if you haven't, please, you know, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Please share this with other diabetics like us, because they need this information as well. Because my information, yeah, there are other people talking about teas and green teas and stuff like that, but not from their perspective as a diabetic. And, you know, I am not playing a game. Diabetes was a problem for me. I'm not like, hey, let me check my blood sugar. I'm a regular person and see how this affects me. I'm not doing that, guys. I'm a real person like you with real diabetes like you, and I found a way to deal with it. I just wanted to share it with you guys. No strings attached, free. There's no course I'm selling. I'm not selling any medications. I'm not pushing any brands, you know, just free, valuable information that you as a diabetic need to get on the right path and work with your healthcare provider to see if it's going to work for you. And if it doesn't, I would like your feedback. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you in the next video.